Big-name tires are a scam. Michelin, Goodyear, 40,000 miles if you're lucky. Meanwhile, brands dealers refuse to stock 70,000, 80,000. Half the price, no blowouts, no callbacks. Why don't you know about them? No ad budget, no dealer margin, no one pushing them. Today, that changes. 13 tire brands that bury the giants. Number 1 made me trash every premium tire I owned. Let's expose them all. Number 13, General Tire. General Tire is owned by Continental, one of the big premium manufacturers, but they position it as their budget-friendly line. That means you're getting German engineering and Continental's technology at 30 to 40% less than the Continental badge costs. The General Ultimax RT43 all-season tire costs around $95 per tire for a common size like 215/60 R16. The equivalent Michelin Defender costs $145. That's a $200 savings on a set of 4 for nearly identical performance. Independent testing by Tire Rack shows the Ultimax RT43 delivers 60,000-mile tread life, excellent wet traction, and quiet ride quality. General's off-road line, the Grabber series, competes directly with BF Goodrich all-terrain at $80 to $100 less per tire. Truck owners report identical off-road capability and longevity. The secret? General uses Continental's factories, materials, and testing protocols. You're just not paying for the Continental name. Here's what tire shops won't tell you. They make higher margins on Michelin and Goodyear. When you ask for Generals, their profit drops 40%. That's why they never recommend them first. But General is just the warm-up. The next brand supplies tires to Porsche from the factory and costs less than Goodyear. #12 Falcon. Let me ask you something. Have you ever bought Michelins just because you recognize the name? You're not alone. The fact is that you're paying for Super Bowl commercials, not better rubber. Let me show you an even better brand. Falcon is a Japanese brand owned by Sumitomo Rubber, but most Americans have never heard of them. That's changing fast because their performance matches or exceeds premium brands in multiple categories at significant savings. The Falcon Zyx ZE950 all-season costs around $110 per tire compared to $160 for a Goodyear Eagle Sport. That's $200 saved on a set. But here's what's impressive. Independent wet braking tests show the ZX stops in 175 feet from 60 miles per hour. The Goodyear stops in 178 feet. The Falcon is actually better in the wet while costing $50 less per tire. For winter driving, the Falcon Euro Winter HS01 competes with Michelin X Ice at half the price. A set of Falcons costs $480 versus $880 for Michelins in common sizes. Consumer Reports testing showed identical snow traction and ice braking performance. My brother-in-law switched to Falcon Winters 3 months ago, after I showed him the test data. 35,000 miles later, tread life matched the expensive Michelins his neighbor bought, but he saved $400. And if Japanese manufacturers can deliver 95% of premium performance at 64% of the cost, wait till you see what happens when Korean engineers enter the fight. Before moving on, if this kind of no-nonsense car advice is helping you, hit that subscribe button now. Number 11. Hankook. Hankook is South Korea's premier tire manufacturer and supplies OEM tires to Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. That's right, your $80,000 luxury car might have come with Hankook tires from the factory, but in the aftermarket, they cost 40% less than premium brands. The Hankook Kinergy ST All-Season costs $100 per tire versus $155 for Michelin Defender T+H. That's $220 saved on a set of 4. Tire rack testing shows 70,000-mile tread life, exceptional wet traction, and low road noise. One category where Hankook actually outperformed Michelin was ride comfort. The Kinergy ST absorbed road imperfections better than the Defender. I had a single mom in my shop last month She needed 4 tires. The dealer quoted her $900 for Goodyears. I put her in Hancooks for $380. She almost cried. Same safety ratings, same performance, half the price. That $520 savings covered her rent payment. Hankook's winter tire, the Winter Icept, costs $120 per tire versus $185 for Bridgestone Blizzak. The Hankook stops on ice in 52 feet from 30 miles per hour. The Blizzak stops in 51 feet, 1 foot difference for $65 less per tire. A set of 4 saves you $260. The secret? Hankook invested billions in R&D to compete with premium brands. They succeeded. European and Asian markets recognize this. America is catching up slowly. Now, Korean manufacturers are proving themselves with OEM contracts and performance data. But here's what most people don't know. There's an American company that's been perfecting tire manufacturing since before Goodyear even existed. Want to find out? Hashtag 10. Cooper. Cooper Tire has been manufacturing in America since 1914. They're one of the oldest tire companies in the world, yet they price their products 30 to 35% below Goodyear and Michelin. Why? They focus on product quality over marketing budgets. The Cooper CS5 Ultra Touring All Season costs $105 per tire versus $150 for Goodyear Assurance Max Life. That's $180 saved on a set. Consumer Reports rates the CS5 Ultra Touring with 80,000-mile expected tread life and excellent wet and dry traction. Real-world owners report hitting 75,000 to 85,000 miles regularly. Cooper's winter tire, the Evolution Winter, costs $115 versus $170 for Goodyear Ultra Grip. Testing shows identical snow traction and ice braking within measurement error margins. A family in Michigan bought Cooper's instead of Goodyear's and saved $220 on their minivan. 3 winters later, the tires still had enough tread for a 4th season. Cooper was recently acquired by Goodyear, but they maintain separate product lines. The Cooper name remains the value option with the same manufacturing quality. So American Heritage delivers premium results at value prices. That's clear. But here's what drives me crazy. There's one brand that supplies OEM tires to Ford, Chrysler, and GM, yet drivers ignore it at the tire shop. Let's go find out what it is. Hashtag 9. Kumho. Kumho is another Korean manufacturer that delivers premium performance at budget prices. They supply OEM tires to Ford, Chrysler, and GM, meaning your new car might have Kumhos from the factory. But replacement Kumhos cost far less than the premium brands most people switch to. The Kumho Solus TA31 all-season costs $85 per tire versus $140 for Michelin Premier AS. That's $220 saved per set. Tire rack testing shows 65,000-mile tread life and excellent wet braking. One area where Kumho excelled was hydroplaning resistance. The Solus TA31's deep grooves evacuated water better than tires costing twice as much. For performance cars, the Kumho Exta PA51 costs $130 versus $200 for Continental Extreme Contact Sport. Track testing showed the Kumho delivered 92% of the Continental's dry grip and 95% of wet grip. For street driving and occasional spirited runs, the performance difference is imperceptible, but the $280 savings on 4 tires is very noticeable. Kumho also makes excellent winter tires. The Wintercraft WP71 costs $100 versus $165 for Pirelli Winter Sato Zero. Testing shows equivalent snow and ice performance. A driver in Vermont saved $260 on a set and ran them for 4 winter seasons covering 30,000 miles. But Korean brands aren't the only value leaders. The next one comes from a country famous for precision engineering. Hashtag 8. Vredestein. Vredestein is a Dutch tire manufacturer that's been operating since 1909. They're massive in Europe, but virtually unknown in America. That's changing as word spreads about their exceptional quality to price ratio. The Vredestein Quatrack All Season costs $120 per tire versus $175 for Michelin Cross Climate 2. That's $220 saved on a set of 4. European testing, which is more rigorous than US testing, rates the Quatrack with an A rating for wet grip and B for fuel efficiency. The Michelin scores the same ratings. Performance is identical, price is 30% less. For winter use, the Vredestein Wintrack Pro costs $140 versus $200 for Continental Winter Contact. Independent testing shows the Vredestein stops on ice in 49 feet from 30 miles per hour. The Continental stops in 48 feet. 1 foot difference for $60 less per tire. A set saves $240. A customer brought his car back to my shop 3 years after I recommended Vredesteins. He wanted to show me the tread depth. Still had 430 seconds after 42,000 miles. He's on his second set now and has converted 4 friends. The quality matches premium brands at prices that make sense. Here's why big retailers hope you never ask about Vredestein. They're not in most chain stores. You have to go to independent shops. Chains make their money pushing the big brands with big margins. Vredestein cut into that profit. But if European precision can match Michelin for less money, what happens when Japanese manufacturers who supply Toyota, Nissan, and Subaru from the factory price their tires 30% below Bridgestone? The answer involves 85,000-mile tread life and ride comfort ratings that actually beat premium brands. #7. Yokohama. Yokohama is a premium Japanese manufacturer that somehow flies under the radar in America despite supplying OEM tires to Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, and Subaru. Their aftermarket prices are 25 to 30% below Michelin and Bridgestone, despite equal or better performance. The Yokohama Avid Ascend GT All Season costs $115 per tire versus $160 for Michelin Defender T+H. That's $180 saved per set. Consumer Reports testing shows 85,000-mile tread life, which is 10,000 miles more than the Michelin. Wet braking performance was identical. Ride comfort was actually rated higher for the Yokohama. For trucks and SUVs, the Yokohama Geolandar A/TG015 costs $165 versus $230 for Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack. Off-road testing shows identical traction in mud, rocks, and sand. On-road comfort was better with the Yokohama due to quieter operation. A set saves $260. Yokohama's winter tire, the IceGuard IG53, costs $125 versus $180 for Bridgestone Blizzak WS90. Testing shows the Yokohama stops on ice in 50 feet from 30 miles per hour, the Blizzak in 49 feet. Essentially identical for $55 less per tire, saving $220 on 4 tires. But Japanese precision isn't the only game in town. What I'm about to reveal will change how you think about American manufacturing. #6. Mastercraft. Mastercraft is Cooper Tire's budget line, which means American manufacturing quality at prices that seem too good to be true. These tires are made in the same factories as Cooper Tires using similar materials and processes, just marketed under a different name. The Mastercraft strategy all season costs $75 per tire versus $140 for Goodyear Assurance. That's $260 saved on a set of 4. Independent testing shows 60,000-mile tread life and good wet traction. For daily commuting and normal driving, they deliver everything most drivers need. An elderly couple came into my shop last spring. They had fixed income and needed 4 tires for their Camry. Premium brands quoted at $560. I suggested Mastercraft for $300. 4 years and 58,000 miles later, those tires are still running excellently. They saved $260 and got nearly identical performance to premium tires. For SUVs, the Mastercraft Corsair AXT All-Terrain costs $130 versus $210 for BF Goodrich All-Terrain. A driver in Montana put Corsairs on his Silverado and ran them for 50,000 miles through snow, mud, and gravel roads. Tread life and traction matched expectations. He saved $320 on the set. The strategy with Mastercraft is simple. They strip away fancy marketing and sell solid tires at honest prices. You're not getting cutting-edge technology or industry-leading tread life. You're getting dependable, safe tires that last 60,000 miles and cost half what premium brands charge. But here's where things get interesting. But what if you could get American-made tires with actual cutting-edge technology? That exists, and truck owners have built a cult following around it. #5 Toyo. Toyo is a Japanese manufacturer that's built a cult following among truck and SUV owners for their aggressive all-terrain and mud-terrain tires. But their all-season and touring tires deliver premium performance at mid-tier prices. The Toyo Versado Noir all-season costs $110 per tire versus $155 for Bridgestone Turanza. That's $180 saved per set. Tire rack testing shows 70,000-mile tread life and exceptional wet traction. The Versado Noir uses Toyo's silent wall technology that reduces road noise below many premium tires. For trucks, the Toyo Open Country A/T3 costs $180 versus $240 for Goodyear Wrangler All-Terrain Adventure. A subscriber emailed me photos of his Tundra with Toyos at 55,000 miles, desert off-roading, mountain trails, daily highway. The tread life exceeded expectations. He got 60,000 miles before replacing them. He ended up saving $240 on the set. Toyo's winter tire, the Observe GSY6, costs $130 versus $185 for Michelin X Ice. Testing shows the Toyo performs slightly better on ice, while costing $55 less per tire. The Observe uses microbit technology that creates thousands of tiny edges for ice grip. It's more advanced than what many premium tires offer. A mechanic friend in Maine switched from Michelin X Ice to Toyo last year. The Toyos stopped better on ice and lasted 500 miles longer than his previous Michelins. He saved $220 on the set. Trust me, he's never going back to premium brands. The sad reality is that Michelin spends billions on commercials, while Toyo spends millions on engineering. Korean manufacturers just keep raising the bar. But we're about to enter different territory. The next 3 brands aren't trying to match premium performance. They're exceeding it while still costing less. And the strategy is brilliant. They're owned by the premium manufacturers themselves. #4 Nexen. Nexen is a Korean manufacturer that's invested heavily in R&D and now produces tires that compete with ultra-premium brands. They supply OEM tires to Porsche, Volkswagen, and other European manufacturers, which tells you everything about their quality level. The Nexen Enprise AH8 all-season costs $85 per tire versus $135 for Continental True Contact. That's $200 saved on 4 tires. Consumer Reports testing shows 70,000-mile tread life and excellent wet and dry traction. The Enprise AH8 also scores top marks for ride comfort and low noise. For performance cars, the Nexen Enfera SU1 costs $100 versus $180 for Michelin Pilot Sport A/S3+. Track testing shows the Nexen delivers 90% of the Michelin's dry grip and 93% of wet grip. For street performance and occasional spirited driving, it's more than adequate at nearly half the price. A set saves $320. Nexen's winter tire, the Wingard Sport 2, costs $110 versus $170 for Pirelli. Winter Sato 03. European testing shows the Nexen matches the Pirelli in snow traction and exceeds it in ice braking. The compound stays flexible to -40 degrees. A set saves $240. The technology is impressive. Nexen uses 3D SIPE technology, advanced silica compounds, and asymmetric tread patterns found in premium tires. They've also invested in noise-canceling technology that makes their tires quieter than many luxury branded options. Now we're getting to the top 3. These are the brands that deliver performance so good, premium manufacturers should be worried. Brand number 3, Firestone. Firestone is owned by Bridgestone, but marketed as their value brand. That means you get Bridgestone engineering, quality control, and manufacturing at 30 to 40% lower prices. The difference is purely marketing and brand positioning. The Firestone Weather Grip all-weather tire costs $115 per tire versus $180 for Michelin Cross Climate 2. That's $260 saved on a set. The Weather Grip is one of the few all-weather tires that's 3-peak mountain snowflake rated for severe snow service. Testing shows it matches the Michelin in snow traction while costing significantly less. For trucks and SUVs, the Firestone Destination A/T2 costs $155 versus $220 for Goodyear Wrangler All-Terrain Adventure. A driver in Idaho ran Firestones on his Ram 1500 for 65,000 miles through mud, snow, gravel, and highway. The tires lasted longer than expected and performed flawlessly. He saved $260 initially and got 5,000 more miles than the manufacturer's warranty. Firestone's touring tire, the Champion Fuel Fighter, is designed for fuel efficiency and costs $90 versus $140 for Michelin Energy Saver AS. Testing shows the Firestone delivers comparable rolling resistance, which translates to similar fuel economy gains. Over 50,000 miles, both tires save approximately the same amount of fuel, but the Firestone costs $200 less up front. But even Firestone isn't the best value. The next brand has won more independent testing awards than any premium manufacturer. Brand number 2, B.F. Goodrich. Wait, isn't B.F. Goodrich a premium brand? Yes and no. They're owned by Michelin and use Michelin technology, but they price their tires 20 to 30% below Michelin-branded equivalents. It's the same strategy as Firestone and Bridgestone. The B.F. Goodrich Advantage T/A Sport All Season costs $120 versus $165 for Michelin Defender T+H. That's $180 saved on a set of 4. Testing shows 65,000-mile tread life and excellent wet traction. The tire uses Michelin's silica compounds and tread designs. It's essentially a Michelin Defender with a B.F. Goodrich label at 27% less cost. For off-road use, the legendary B.F. Goodrich All-Terrain T/AKO2 is the gold standard. It costs $230 per tire, which seems expensive until you compare it to competitors. The Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrack costs $240. The Nitto Ridge Grappler costs $260. The B.F. Goodrich is actually the value option among premium all-terrains while delivering unmatched durability and performance. A driver in Colorado ran KO2s on his Jeep Wrangler for 60,000 miles of extreme off-road use, including rock crawling, mud, sand, and snow. The tires showed minimal wear and still had 30 seconds of tread at replacement. Most all-terrain tires don't last 40,000 miles under those conditions. The KO2s delivered 50% more life. BF Goodrich's performance tire, the G-Force Comp 2AS, costs $140 versus $210 for Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. For street and track use, it delivers 90% of the Pilot Sport's performance at 67% of the cost. Track day enthusiasts love this tire because you can afford to burn through sets without breaking the bank. The value proposition is clear. You're getting Michelin engineering and quality with a different badge at significantly lower prices. If you're willing to skip the Michelin name, you save hundreds while getting nearly identical performance. And now the #1 brand that outsells Michelin in Europe, but remains America's best-kept tire secret. Brand number 1, Continental. Wait, Continental is a premium brand, you're thinking. You're right, but here's the secret. Continental's mid-tier lines deliver the same technology as their ultra-premium lines at 40% lower prices, and they outperform Michelin and Goodyear's premium offerings in multiple categories. The Continental True Contact Tour costs $125 per tire versus $165 for Michelin Defender T+H and $155 for Goodyear Assurance Max Life. That's $160 to $240 saved on a set. But here's what's incredible. Consumer Reports testing ranks the True Contact Tour as the #1 all-season tire overall, beating both Michelin and Goodyear in tread life, wet braking, dry braking, and ride comfort. Independent testing shows 90,000-mile tread life for the True Contact Tour. The Michelin Defender tests at 80,000 miles. The Goodyear at 75,000 miles. Continental delivers 10,000 to 15,000 more miles while costing less. A driver in Illinois ran True Contact Tours for 95,000 miles before replacing them. At that mileage, he saved approximately $200 on the initial purchase and didn't need to buy a second set as early as premium brand owners. For winter driving, the Continental Viking Contact 7 costs $145 versus $185 for Michelin X-Ice XY3. European testing ranks the Viking Contact as the best winter tire available, period. It outperforms every competitor in ice braking, snow traction, and slush handling while costing $40 less per tire. A set saves $160. Continental's ultra-high-performance tire, the Extreme Contact Sport, costs $180 versus $280 for Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. Professional racing teams use Extreme Contact Sports in amateur racing series. Testing shows identical dry grip and better wet grip than the Pilot Sport 4S. A set saves $400 while delivering superior performance. Here's why Continental is #1. They're the largest tire manufacturer in Europe and supply OEM tires to Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen. When German automakers need the best tires for their performance cars, they choose Continental. That's the ultimate endorsement. Continental invests more in R&D than any other tire manufacturer. Their technology includes Conti Seal self-sealing technology, Conti Silent noise-absorbing foam, and advanced silica compounds that deliver better grip in wet and dry conditions. This isn't marketing, it's measurable, testable technology that produces superior results. The reason Continental costs less than Michelin and Goodyear in America is simple: brand recognition. Michelin and Goodyear have spent 100 years building brand loyalty in the US market. Continental is relatively new to American consumers, despite being a 150-year-old company. They compete on performance and value rather than legacy marketing. Smart buyers know this. European car enthusiasts know this. Now you know this. Continental delivers the best combination of performance, longevity, and price in the tire industry. Period. I've sold over 40,000 sets of tires in my career. The customers who buy smart, they save $800 every 4 years. The ones who buy names, they fund Super Bowl commercials. Don't be fooled by the big names, since you know better now. If you learned even one new thing today, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-world car advice that actually matters. There's a video on your screen right now that'll save you even more money and stress under the hood. Click it now on the left, and I'll meet you there.